Music Matters. Mr. Quadry in the building.
Oh, what's up, bro?
How are you, man?
Good.
Thank you for doing this, bro. I appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, yeah, man. You know, I'm in LA.
Yes, sir. How long are you out here for? You said you're leaving, like, tonight, right?
Early in the morning, 3 in the morning.
Jesus, dude. Oh, the red-eye trips. I feel you, bro.
Yeah, I'm going straight to New York.
Do you like coming out here a lot? Do you do it often?
Yeah, I come out here as much as I can.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, I spend a lot of time out here during my years trying to, you know, make music and stuff, so.
Yeah, usually when you come out, is it like you have a very strict schedule? Is it like I'm doing thing after thing after thing after thing, or do you ever come out and, you know, kind of vibe it out?
Yeah, I try to do a strict schedule.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, I don't try to get too lost in LA because, you know, you end up, you know, it seems like time moves faster here for some reason. It's
interesting.
Like, yeah, it's like
everybody says slower.
For me, it's faster. It's like you wake up at 9, then you know you wait, you know, take a shower, do whatever you're gonna do. Then it's 12.
Yeah.
And then the day just goes downhill from there.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know.
Are you out in New York now?
No, I'm in.
You're still in Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, but you spent a lot of time in New York, right?
Somewhat. I've been going more recently, like in recent years. I mean, more frequently in recent years.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm still in Baton Rouge. I just be trying to be in the coastal cities as much as I can.
Gotcha. I'm excited to talk about Baton Rouge and just home, because that's such like a big thing. Not only the new project, but just your whole discography. There's so much Baton Rouge in your music, such a product of like what you are. But I guess we can start with when you go out to places like New York and LA, you know, where you are now, where you're going next. Do you feel like this strange longing for home, or do you like to get out of it a lot? Like, since you've been there your whole life, do you feel like, do things feel different depending on like the time of year when you go? Like, what's the vibe when you're kind of leaving and coming back?
I mean, it takes, so I've been back home for like a good solid like 8-9 months, like since December. So like now, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, let's get it cracking. But yeah, like it takes me like a month or two to kind of feel some type of homesickness, I guess.
Gotcha.
You know, but yeah, New York, I've never stayed in New York more than 4 days.
Really? Okay, nice.
Yeah, so it's like it's always fun.
It's always new.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So, you know,
I love New York, bro. I've only spent like a couple days there at a time too, and I really have been meaning to make like a longer conserved trip.
Right, like a month. Just imagine it, a month of riding the subway. Oh my God.
Do you plan to stay in Baton Rouge? Could you see yourself moving anytime soon?
Yeah. Like I just gotta find a city I like, bro. Cause I've been thinking about this like frequently too. Cause it's like, okay, do I like San Francisco? Do I like LA? Do I like New York? I just gotta find the place where everything kind of intersects. Yeah. Like, you know, the artist that I align with is there. The scene that could get me to the next level is there, and then, you know, meeting opportunities for like things outside of music, like TV and film, modeling and stuff. So, you know, like New York is seeming like the place like that, but I'm more familiar with LA. So yeah,
when I came out here originally, like honestly, because like I'm about 2 years in now, and I've enjoyed the second year like infinitely more than I enjoyed the first year. And I think that's just true for anybody moving to any new big city, right? Like, you just like, it takes, I think, at least a year to like get into the culture, understand what it's really like, and meet your right people, right? But it's like, I think the first year I got here, I questioned going back a lot more than I have the second year. And I always question, like, is there really like, is it necessary to be here or New York to make the dream happen, right? Like, I think it's becoming less and less like necessary to be in one of the two places to like force feed that down your throat. You know, like, do you feel like you can do it in Baton Rouge as much as you can in LA or New York? Do you feel like there's any benefits or anything you're missing out on?
It's benefits as to where it's like, okay,
I'm gonna turn this real quick.
Okay. Where it's like I can have a perspective that's unique to these places. So it's like, you know, as opposed to somebody that comes here, stays here for 4 years, and like their music starts to kind of sound like the place that they're in. So that's the benefit. But the downside is like, yo, you gotta come to these places, like, because Rolling Stone is in New York. Yeah. You know, all these places have offices in either New York or LA. Yeah. Anything entertainment related or media related, you want to do a late night TV spot, you gotta come to LA. You know, you can't live stream it from your house.
It's interesting too though, because as those things become less and less valuable, and the means of production and music become like more and more catered to like you and yourself and your bedroom and like your immediate circle, there's almost more value sometimes in like saying fuck all that shit and just making your own scene wherever you are, you know? Do you have a lot of people you collaborate with out in Baton Rouge? Is there any of a bit of a scene there?
Oh yeah. It's a very vibrant scene actually. It's, you know, it's like very healthy. It's very sometimes competitive, where it's like we're trying to put out the best thing, you know, just like who can make the best thing. So it's like, you know, it's a very like very healthy, very experimental, very like innovative, because people are like trying things out with like rollouts, trying things out with like cover art, trying things out with like how an album is sequenced. So like it's on the cutting edge, I would say, as far as like what hip hop is gonna sound like in the decades coming forward.
Damn, that's so cool, bro. I feel the same way about the Bay Area. I almost feel, cause I don't know, I kind of feel like those two markets are comparable in a lot of ways. Like they're not big markets, but they're not like non-existent markets. They're kind of like on the outside looking in, you know?
They're the markets that influence the major markets.
100%, bro.
Because it's like,
Mac Dre said that. He said everything LA likes comes through the Bay first.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they're the test cities where it's like, okay, if it works here, then it's gonna work in Atlanta. If it works here, then it's gonna work in Houston. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, man.
Yeah, growing up in the South and like having that world of Southern hip hop just obviously be such a massive thing. I imagine like during the time that I guess you would have been growing up, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Was that a big influence when you were out there in the South, kind of like looking at all these people doing their thing out of Atlanta, out of New Orleans, and all that?
Yeah, it consumed, you know, it was everything. It consumed the environment. You heard it when you were going to the gas station. You heard it while watching TV in your room. Like, you know, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, and, you know, he was kind of talking about when he was growing up that, you know, he's from New York. So it's like when he was growing up, his local rappers were the major rappers.
That's such an interesting thought. I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah, like his local rapper was, you know, was Jay-Z.
Yeah.
So it's like
that local neighborhood guy.
Yeah, right. But growing,
or like RZA. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But growing up for me, it, you know, it was the same, because my neighborhood or, you know, local rapper was Boosie, and they were on BET and MTV, you know, just as much as you know like anybody else. So it's like it influenced me in a way to like this was possible, where I was like, if I was born in an era before, maybe it wouldn't be much of a attainable dream.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's such an interesting aspect of it that I honestly never consider. I mean, we were just talking about this earlier, like that kind of like how much the era you're born into influences what you make and how you make it and how it looks and how it doesn't look. And it just like you're very, very right about that, right? It's like you said, like you were born into an era where like Southern hip hop was one of the things. But that's a super interesting idea. I've never even thought about that, because I guess like I don't know, I've never had the experience, I guess, of like being, I mean, I think about this a lot with what we're doing, and I always talk about how I think our catalog's gonna age like fine wine of people we've interviewed. But it's so interesting to think about the idea that like we could be on the cusp of like a life-changing music scene right now and not have any idea.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't know.
Yeah. Right. They didn't know.
Yeah. How would they?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like, like that's something I think about too, because it's like, you know, bro, nobody fucking knows. Like, you could be talking to the best rapper ever right now, but it's like, you know, it just take time and people's decisions. Yeah, we're like, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, so, you know, it is what it is, bro. And then time tells off, so.
Yeah,
you just gotta see.
I feel like it's interesting to see things with the internet, and especially I think like post-COVID, this was a big thing. Things kind of like decentralized in terms of like the music scene, right? Like the traditional idea of like you and a bunch of your homies, you know, in a similar genre, in a similar place, doing a similar thing at the same time. That I feel like after COVID became less and less common in a lot of ways. Like I feel like the kind of music scene that we were experiencing before that, I think post-COVID kind of died for a little, but I do think it's coming back for sure.
I feel, like, you know, recently it's coming back, like in the last year and a half, because I feel like it's the opposite, man. I'm seeing a lot of localized scenes, like what they're doing in Milwaukee rap, what they, you know, Chicago is having is a resurgence of drill, like they're kind of staking their claim as like, we created it, so we decide where it goes next. So man, it's a very fertile ecosystem right now, especially for hip hop. You know, like, you know, it's a shame people, you know, kind of use this time as like, it, you know, and it just feels kind of cringy too, because it's like, damn, we've been, hip hop has been a predominant genre for at least 2 decades.
Yeah.
And like the moment or the year or whatever the second, it seems like is not
2 decades. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Just imagine that.
That's crazy.
Since the mid '90s for sure, but it's been one of the most influential genres since the early mid '80s.
Yeah, I guess so.
Since once the Flintstones rap, that's when all bets were off. So like so yeah, man, it's just kind of disheartening to hear, but sometimes that's what the genre needs. It it needs that, like, the quote unquote mainstream turns its back on it for a while so it can grow healthily.
Well, I do feel like that is what hip hop was born out of in the first place. You know, it's like this. It was born out of this part of society that wasn't being represented. It was born out of this part of society that nobody was looking at creatively or artistically. I mean, that's like where hip hop came from in New York. You know, so it's interesting to think about that. I was just talking to my dad about this actually, and I was telling him, we were just talking about like the economy or whatever, and I was telling him how, like, as somebody who's so obsessed with art, there is a part of me that gets excited because I think all of the most beautiful artistic periods in, like, not only this country but every country's timeline have been born out of like periods of like huge economic despair and like huge wealth disparities and things like that. It's like sometimes when the country or like people at large are struggling, it does feel like that's when the biggest and most influential artistic like spurts come out of. So I'd be very curious to fast forward like 25 years from now and think like what kind of like influential music comes out of this scene right now. Like, what do we know about right now that's gonna be the thing in like 10 years? It's so crazy to think about.
Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things that keep you up at night, but like, it's one of those things also that kind of lets you kind of take the ego down a bit, because you don't know who you could be talking to. Like, you don't know who you could be not acknowledging or not embracing. So it's something that keeps you on your toes for sure.
That's a weird thing about LA that I realized when I first moved here, is that like nobody's really shit. Like it's so interesting and like not dehumanizing in a bad way, but almost like leveling in a way, where like you move somewhere and you're like, oh, like the person next to you knows this person or does this thing or does that thing. And when you kind of get to this place where you realize like, oh, I've talked to those people and they're just like me, or I've talked to those people and we have the same life experience, we've experienced the same things, it kind of like levels everything out and you kind of become like one in a cool way, and you stop like idolizing people. I think idolization can be like a very scary and dangerous thing in music.
Yeah, that's just high grade comparison. That's really all it is.
Yeah, exactly. So we were talking about it before, but I found your stuff a couple years ago now, like 2021 or 2020, I think, when 104 PM came out.
Oh, that was like 2018.
2018, right?
Yeah.
I think I found it in like 2020 when the album came out, I believe.
What, the next album?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but anyway, so I found it a couple years ago now, and it's been really cool to kind of watch you like shift and kind of like move since that moment, because I know that was a big moment for you, but you are a few years removed from that now. I mean, I guess what, like 5-6 years now it's been since that happened, and dropping a project right now, right, that is like so incredible, and I love it, by the way. I think it's a great project, but it's so different from something like that. How removed do you feel like from that moment? Do you feel like you've gotten to a place now where like your music is very, very, very different? Do you feel like you're a different person from back then? Like, what do you think are the biggest things you've learned in this like kind of new part of your career over the past like couple of years?
I mean, naturally, yeah, that was 5-6 years ago, so yeah, like I'm gonna be a different person, but it's like, my taste changed, my ears changed, my vision got sharper into like what I wanted to do, like, let me see. Because the main thing that shifted was I wanted to make something that felt like a film. That was the main,
Interesting.
Yeah, that was the main thing. So it's like...
Was there an experience that made you think of that, or was it just like a conscious kind of thing that changed over time?
It was something I always wanted to do. I was trying to do it with Malik Grubb, try to do it with They Think We Ghetto, and it just, the focus got sharper with each album. So it's like, now we're here, and, it feels like I got everything right. So
yeah. Do you feel like this is the first project where you really nailed that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The first one, I felt like everything was left up to my own devices, where it's like, if I wanted to make that decision with my music, I had carte blanche to do it. Yeah. Like it wasn't micromanaged. It was like, okay, cool, I like it, cool.
Yeah, that's got to be a beautiful feeling, bro. I think it also has a lot to do with when you get to that place where it's like your taste matches up with your skill, and like
that's
you
the main
can,
thing too.
you know, and you can make this shit that like you're into. I mean, I think about this with video editing and stuff. Like, I remember when I used to like really enjoy certain things, but not have the ability to make them, and that was like a frustrating thing. It's almost like your thoughts are ahead of your hands in a weird way, you know. But I think it's really cool that you get to this place where it's like you can put out a project that feels like you know.
Yeah. That's one of the like main things that I like about this too, cause you know it's a lot of things that I like all in one. Cause on the song like "Seeking You Shall Find," it's like this spoken word part from this like deaf poetry jam. Like that's something I would watch at night and just incorporate that into the music. You know, it just feels very natural and rich and authentic.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I totally see that kind of like influence to make something into like a film feeling project like shine through. I think it's really, really sick how like you're not just taking these songs as like individualized pieces. Like they are all part of like a bigger narrative and a bigger like, you know, a bigger idea. Like kind of focusing on that with this new project, does that change the way the album process is opposed to the last albums you've made? Like do you still make the tracks in the same order? Are you building from like intro to outro? How do you kind of like structure the project differently?
No, it's cause honestly I write like, it's, you know, like especially with this project, I felt like I was like a TV writer, where it's like each song was like a scene. So it's like it's songs that didn't make the album that fit, you know, the album and kind of advance the storyline or not advance it.
It's like a sandbox game.
Yeah, take a side detour, and you know, so I had to choose the grouping of songs that got straight to the point of like what I was trying to say. So yeah, man, you know, like you know, I might put out the songs that didn't make it as like special episodes and you know, things of that nature to kind of further the narrative, but that was the whole process with this album. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's got to be frustrating as an artist who makes so much stuff to like look at the stuff that gets cut from the project and think like, damn, like what if that was the one, you know? Yeah,
I mean, I done got to the point where I don't really have that much that much attachment to stuff now. It's like, you know, I need stuff that serves the purpose.
Yeah.
I'll just listen to it for my own pleasure.
Yeah.
Like I don't need it to make an album. Like, you know, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. If it's dope, good. I can use it for something else, or I can just like listen to it and show people. So like, you know.
That's almost cooler, bro. Like I feel like in this age of consumption, we've got to this place where like we're only thinking about music to put it out. Which is such like a strange place to be. Like art has never existed in that manner before. This is the first time that art has existed with the sole purpose of like trying to release it, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
you think so?
You know, it's different. You know, it's different. It's just, you know, things go in cycles too. Cause, for example, like the Beatles were trying to get this shit out. They weren't just making this shit just to make this shit. But you know, I guess to a certain extent. But that is interesting to think about.
In a different way, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know,
like they couldn't just upload a song in the same way that you can to DSPs. You know, it was like a whole different cycle.
Let me see. I'm trying to think though, cause everything like happens in a way that, all right, if I want to do a song, if I want to make a song, like any true artist is just making something to shed off skin. You know, if they want to put it out, or somebody hears it and they want to put it out, like that's a conversation that happens outside of the studio, and it's not really a process of like when to make the music. But you know, because I know a lot of artists, I can't really think of art because like when the artistic mind gets into that, you know, like you know, arena it gets tainted, you know, and it starts to sound weird, and you know, so that's when stuff gets quote unquote trash.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. Do you feel like with this project you accomplished something that like in the past you hadn't been able to with that movie kind of narrative? What do you feel like you hit the nail on the head with this album opposed to prior projects, where like this one you feel like you were able to kind of weave that narrative that felt like a film?
I was able to combine good technical rapping with great song making. And able to
Wow, yeah.
step outside of myself to rap from different perspectives. And because with previous stuff, I always prided myself on like telling the truth.
Yeah.
But with this one, I didn't told so much truth. I felt, let me kind of explain my world in a more detailed way. So in order to do that, I have to step inside myself and create characters and things of that nature to express emotions that I necessarily can't cover ground that I necessarily can't.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's interesting too. And I think like, I don't know if that's something that a lot of people think about, but like there's a very big difference from like making a good rap and making a good song.
Yeah.
Like there are plenty of good raps that are not good songs.
Yeah, a good rap can be in a good song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I should be the goal. But like there's plenty of rappers that like they're making incredibly interesting raps and they might even be good storytellers, but like they aren't doing so in the context of an interesting song. Which is something that I think you do hit the nail on the head with on this project. It's like you're saying some incredibly like meaningful things in pretty much every single one of these songs. You're telling stories. It's very lyrical based, like it's very lyrics first, but like that doesn't mean that you're shying away from like an interesting hook or a cool feature. Like the Buddy feature on this one, for example, is like I think adds a ton to the track. So kind of like doing that, do you ever feel like where do you think what comes first? Like for you, like are you thinking about these things in the context of writing the rap and the song comes after, or are you writing the song and then fitting the rap into the song?
Song comes after fitting the rapping into the song. Well, with the Buddy song, with that song in particular, I had that for like months, and I think I wrote his name down in my notes as like somebody I wanted on the album, and it just all came together, to be honest, because I was here in December trying to finish it up, and I just hit him like, yo, I'm here, I want to come through the studio, and he was like, yeah, cool. So that things like that just worked out.
Nice.
That really, I knew what I wanted him to do when he came.
Yeah.
And he did it. So it's like, that intention was there, but it was like, if he didn't come, it would have came out like without him on it. But it just worked out in a way like, also me and Buddy have a longer relationship than the song too. So it's like what I'm talking about in the song, he fits it. Like I could have easily wrote a third verse about Buddy. You see what I'm saying? So it's like to have him feature on that with me, kind of explaining the narrative of that track. It's kind of a full circle moment.
Yeah. So it just happens like however it happens. It's not necessarily like one or the other.
Yeah. If it's too tough to come, like if it's too hard to come together 9 times out of 10, that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Like I often feel like if you're not finding the thing within like a couple tries, then it's not the answer, Like, are you somebody who will like rewrite things over and over and over again, or do you kind of like get an idea out, move on, get an idea out, move on?
Not really. Yeah, I'm like getting an idea out, move on, getting an idea out. Now I'm just recently getting to that point where it's like I might rework an idea.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense. So kind of breaking the project down track for track. The first song with Wakai, one of my favorites on the album, and I thought it was really cool how like the first voice on the album that you hear is yours, but it's followed right after by Wakai, and I thought that was super, super sick, because it kind of like gives way to this world that you're building, which is so much about like adolescence and youth and like this experience of like being a young person with young people and having friends like that, and just kind of like being a kid with your homies. And I thought it was really cool too how like right off the bat, like that's another artist who's like very, very much like tight with Off Rip and like managed by Off Rip as well. Kind of having that musical community around you, how big of a role does that play in your creative process?
It plays a lot, because it's like if they fit the role I need them for, it's just an easy call. There's it's a very direct communication, and it's just ideas to bounce off of, chopping it up, workshopping. I'm going through this, you're going through that. Okay, I think you should do this. So it's like knowledge sharing all around.
Yeah, which I'm sure is huge, bro. It's interesting too, like you talk about this, I'm trying to remember which track on the project it is, but there's a track I think it was a note that you were talking about on the last project, where you were talking about how like you were having this fear that people who aren't in your environment, don't come from where you come from, might not have the same experience to like relate to the project that you had. And it's interesting too, like I think that's one thing that a creative collaborator can bring out of you really, really well, right? It's like you can only ever write about your experience until you get in the room with somebody else who has something entirely different to share and something entirely different to reflect upon, and then your experience becomes totally muddled with theirs, you know? And it's kind of like this melding of the minds. It's really, really sick.
The one thing I did do different, you know, I had more features on this album.
Yeah.
And I want to have more features on the next, like maybe twice as many on the next one. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing too that helped me a lot with this album, because Malik Ruff had a good amount of features, but I kind of still feel like I was doing a lot of the heavy lifting. They Think We Ghetto, I don't think it had any features. I think one, Black Party. But yeah, this one, you know, I'm kind of delegating the roles.
Yeah.
Kind of casting directing.
Do you work better in the studio when you're with a bunch of people, or do you work better alone?
I think I work better alone. I get the stuff that I like the most alone.
Yeah.
With a bunch of people, it kind of feel like I'm rapping for them. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sure it's difficult to like tell those stories in front of a bunch of people as well, especially since you are such like a personal writer, and so much of what you're writing about is your own like personal experience, you know?
Yeah, because like with a bunch of people, it feels like I'm entertaining.
Yeah.
With just me, it feels like, you know, therapy. So, you know.
Yeah, that's a cool way to put it. My roommate, he makes like a Brazilian funk music, and
that's cool.
He makes a song every single day, and he says it's like literally just for therapy purposes.
Yeah, it's something to do. It's like routine, bro.
Yeah.
Light of Fleet. Shout out to Wayne.
Shout out. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing though. So much of this project feels very like about where you're from, and it feels very southern, and it feels very Baton Rouge, very Louisiana. I want to talk about the visualizers that you kind of did on your YouTube channel for a lot of these, because there's like 6 or 7 of them out right now, and so many of them like feel just very, very like the place that you were from. And there was something you said, there was a note that you left with the project, I think it was on your Instagram, and you said it was your last attempt to catalog the innocence and mayhem of your adolescence and the black experience. And I thought that was really, really cool, because so much of this project does feel like that. It feels very like close to home and stuff, and very much like it's about you and your story growing up. Do you feel like you're at a place where like innocence is kind of like a more difficult thing to keep in your life? Like, how would you kind of describe that feeling of losing innocence?
I mean, the only time now I get is like when I see a butterfly. Like, so yeah, that's, you know, it's kind of out the window, you know, like I'm 29 now, so, you know, like I'm grown, but, you know, it's just times that made me feel a certain way, things that made me feel a certain way that shaped the person that I am. So, you know, I always feel like that's fertile ground to like dig into, to talk about. But to be honest, with the next project or the next further projects, actually, this is the end of a trilogy. Malik Ruff, They Think We Ghetto, that's Magnolia.
Yeah.
So this one kind of caps off. This kind of starts at the beginning, where it's like Malik Ruff is like, when I made it, it was up to date. Like, that what was happening, you know, at the time, you know, I made it. But Ask Magnolia kind of starts when it's like, oh, my bad, let me put that up.
Oh, you're good, bro.
Yeah. So Ask Magnolia starts the chapter before that. So it's like, all right, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, things happen where it's like, you gotta process this, but you still want something, and you still want something that you really can't see at the moment. But you know, you got talent, you know, you got people in that realm that fuck with your music, so you kind of hang on to that as opposed to getting kind of sucked into you know, what's going on around you.
Yeah, and the whole thing is like very, very you. It feels like it's very much like a self-told story. You know, like front to back. Were you thinking about like this eventual album when you were doing the last ones? Like, was the goal to eventually like add this second or this third chapter, I guess, to this trilogy? Was that always in the cards, or did it kind of come halfway through?
I think it started from the very beginning. I honestly think it was always there. Yeah, because I always felt like this was a melding of the two projects. It was as expansive as Malik Ruff, but also just as hard hitting as They Think We Ghetto. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And the story is so like it does make sense when you put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that the three are very, very connected. Because they're all just like stories about you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that idea of losing adolescence is very apparent on a lot of the songs too. Because I think so much of what you're writing about on this project is such like personal subject matter. And such like deep cut rooted things that like are just Quadry talking about Quadry. Do you ever struggle to like write about the more personal experiences in your life? Like, does it get difficult to kind of like be that honest and vulnerable on songs and talk about things that in your life that obviously were like not good experiences for you?
Nah, not really, because it's like that's my way of explaining who I am. So
Yeah.
if I can make you understand how I felt, I can make you understand who I am. So taking my raw emotions and the things that made me feel the most vulnerable,
Yeah.
like those are the best situations to explain who I am.
Gotcha.
Like, you can see who I am under stress. You can see who I am, paranoid. You can see who I am in total bliss. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, just giving different.
It's like writing different expressions of yourself into the music, you know? And it like adds to the greater story of what you're trying to get across, you know?
Exactly. Very, very, like, that's the main thing I wanted to get across with the album, where it's like the experience is so, it could change at the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
Like, it could be the best day of your life, and then the next minute it's the worst day of your life, and then followed by the next, the best day of your life. You see what I'm saying? Like sandwiched in, and like you don't know how to feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, like those are the type of things I wanted to explain. Where it's like, yeah, like it's not all one thing, or it's not all the other thing. It's varying shades of gray.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so strange to even think about that concept, right? Because it's like you could literally wake up tomorrow and everything could be different, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
in good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. Is that something like, have you ever gone through any really big changes in your life that you think informed your music that like were very sudden and just like things came to a halt and changed suddenly?
Oh, let me think. Nothing pops out in my mind, because it's like I'm gonna start like something screeched to a halt. Like, I remember when I like first got the money from when I got signed. I remember that. Like that's always stick inside my mind. But it's like, yeah, I feel, that's one of the ones, because it's like one day I was broke as fuck, then the next day I was rich as fuck. Like, fuck, the whole world flipped upside down.
Yeah.
Like, I was the not predator, but as far as like, if somebody had it, like I was looking at them like, I want it. Now I was looking at niggas looking at me like they want it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, just imagine a lion is that's in the bottom. Well, fuck yeah, the bottom of the food chain. Like everybody want to eat a lion. Yeah. Like the fuck, like you see what I'm saying? That's gonna have some social, some mental effects on the line.
That's the strange thing about money, bro. Like it comes and it goes and it comes and it goes, and it's like you can't spend it when you die.
Yeah, word.
Yeah.
Like, you could give it to other people. People you care about. That's true. Good thing about it.
Yeah, I always try to tell myself that when I'm tripping about money. Yeah. It's just like it will come and it will go, and it, like you make rents every single month, and like you always have, and as long as you don't let yourself miss it, you won't miss it, and it'll be okay,
Yeah, word. Yeah, man. Like it's a tool. It's access. It's it's you can live your wildest dreams. Oh, I hope this ain't me. Oh my God. Hold on. This is my girlfriend calling me. Hello? Yeah, I'm on the podcast. Alright, I'm gonna call you back later. Oh wait, I can't hear you. Just text me.
Shout out.
Yeah, she said so. I'm on the podcast. No, she said so. I was saying I was on the podcast. She texted me so. Alright, man. That's funny.
So what? Talk to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. It is what it is, bro. Hey, man, that's how I get down.
That's funny. There was one line you said in the project on the track. It was "N-word, you crazy," where you said, "I left my youth in the backseat," and that was something that I think wrapped in really, really cool to those themes of adolescence you were talking about in the project. Where you were kind of talking about like the idea of like losing your adolescence and like getting older and kind of like having this trouble of like accepting the fact that like you're losing your innocence as you get older, Do you feel like that's something you try to hold on to? Like, I know you said you're 29 right now, not that you're old by any stretch of the imagination, but as you get older.
Yeah, I try to like with shit like, I try to be joyful. It's like when I see kids, it's like they just having fun being alive. Like, like, like I try to keep that as much as I can. but you know, it's like I know too much.
Yeah, I feel that, bro. Dude, there's just like I don't know, there's something like ignorant, kind of like ignorant bliss to the way the kids act sometimes. It's like kids don't think and like they just never think too far into things, and I feel like it's like how it is to a child's eyes is like how they just believe everything is, and there's something like really, really beautiful about that.
They don't know shit. They don't know context. They don't know history. They don't know the future. Like, you know, so it's like it's nothing weighing them down. Like that's, you know, like just like I said, when I see a butterfly, when I drink a fresh cold Powerade, like just small shit, you know, just like I can find joy in. Like that's really honestly what I'm looking for and missing, like just small joys. I try to hold on to those as much as I can, like eat good food when I can, like I don't know, being in a new city, like things like that. Like that's, I guess, the innocence I'm trying to hold on to, because like when I'm going to a new city, it's like fuck, it's just like I'm a kid again. It's like I gotta figure out how to walk, gotta figure out like where to go. It's like, oh shit, you know, it's like, you know, like I make a mistake, I bump into something, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like those are the feelings I'm, you know, running for and chasing.
Do you think holding on to those moments of joy has become easier as you've gotten older? Like, have you found better ways?
I wanted to. Well, I mean, yeah. I guess when you experience new things, yeah. It's like I've been trying not to take stuff for granted, you know, like especially when good shit, because it's good shit, but it's like it comes in the form of work. Yeah. You know, it's like when I go on tour and shit, it's like, oh shit, you know, I'm on tour, but it's like, damn, we back to back CD, we tired and shit, but it's like, those are the times you gotta be like, oh shit, you know, this is, take a deep breath, look around, and
think about where you are.
Exactly, you know, in any situation. Like, you know, you like living your dream, bro. So
I totally feel that, bro. Like, problems are very relative. Like,
exactly.
It's so interesting. Like, I mean, I've been like working full time in music for like about a year now, and whenever I get frustrated with something, or like I'm like, damn, I get disappointed in something that's like related to music, I'll like stop myself and I'm like, Dante, like shut the fuck up. You have the privilege to like do this every single day. And like 14-year-old you would have been absolutely geeked if he could have seen like what you're doing right now. Exactly. So for me to complain about like whatever is happening in this dumb little like thing that I get to do is such a ridiculous complaint, you know, compared to what I used to complain about.
I mean, bro, it's all, just like you said, bro, it's all relative. Because it's like, I mean, your problems are still problems to you. Yeah, that's you know,
true. That's true, I guess.
There are obstacles in your mind, you know, to the person doing something else. They may be like, oh, like, what you care about, you know, just keep on doing it, bro. Like, you know, like, you'll be fine. But, you know, everybody has a right to complain. Yeah. Everybody has a right to complain. Bitch and moan just a little bit. Yeah, but,
that's true. Not too much though, just a little bit.
Exactly. Not too much, just a little bit. And then you gotta fix it and change.
Yeah. Are you doing music full time right now, or are you still managing like a day job on top of the music stuff?
Yeah, I'm full. You know, I'm doing music full time right now. Yeah,
nice, bro.
Shit, yeah. You know, but I'm looking for like a little day job. I need something that services this too. You know, like when I need to take trips. You know. Like, you know, people be acting all weird about this. So, you know, I just try to, fuck it, put all my energy into this, try to build something that could sustain me, you know, like off of this, where it's like I can do it full time. Yeah.
How different has that experience been, like being in it every single day and getting into it full time, opposed to like managing it with a day job?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I love to do. So it, you know, it just feels like
it works itself out.
Yeah, like I don't want to say it feels like a video game, but it's like it just feels like, yo, if I want to do something, let me find out a way to do it. Okay, I gotta talk to this person, gotta talk to that person. It's like, you know, like if I get no's, then it like lets me know, okay, this is not the way to go through it. All right, I need this, and that. See what I'm saying? Yeah. It's continuous knowledge and continuous like trial and error. So it's like I'm learning so much every day on the go at light speed. You know, sometimes it's overwhelming, but, you know, it's getting battle experience.
Yeah, which is honestly infinitely better than, like I feel like having the opportunity to even wake up every single day and fail that much is like a blessing.
Exactly.
Like getting to learn that much and fail that much is like a luxury that you don't have when you're trying to manage, you know, another day job and music and all that. It's like you don't really have the luxury to like try shit every single day. I feel like that was the biggest thing for me when I got to quit my job, was like just fucking up more, like getting to fail and learn, you know,
because bro, it's like anything you doing it professionally, that means you're the top in the world. To be the top in the world, you have to do it the most. So if you can find a way to do it the most, you're gonna be the best at it. You know, I just devote all my time to it as much as I can right now. So it's like, if it ever comes a moment where I 100% can't, everything I done built in that time, we'll just keep on rolling until I can.
Are you somebody who like schedules music and creation like into your day, or is it just like wherever every spare second you get you're creating, or are you somebody who like does a song a day or anything?
I'm continuously creative, bro. Even if I'm not doing shit but watching a movie, like I'm soaking it in. Yeah, it's like it almost feels like a curse, bro. Like
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
that's very true. Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, dude." Like, you know, like like it's a curse almost, because it's like I'll be watching Friends or some shit, and I'll be like, "Oh shit, that's a dope."
And there's
like,
that little demon in your mind. It's
exactly,
like, damn, bro, you should be making shit right now.
No, not even that. It's like,
really?
You know, like that's a good song idea. That's a good line. That's a good, you know. So and so like Chandler. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm making on raps. It's like I'm trying to enjoy shit. So it's like, but yeah, that's everything, bro. I go to the park with friends. It's like, I can't escape it.
But I guess even that is a blessing in itself.
Yeah, right.
Like having that part of your brain that's been developed over years and years and years of creating, to where like everything becomes a song or everything becomes a rap, you know?
Yeah, like, or a piece or something influenced by that, or like a flow or like a cadence, or like, bro, I pull the strangest shit out of the strangest shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I might rap like Phoebe, but you might, you know, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's something she said on the show Friends, but I flip it into, so you see what I'm saying? Yeah, I feel that, bro. It's so strange too. Like I remember when I first like moved here, I got lunch with a friend of mine, and he's like a dude who's been in music for years and years and years. I feel bad. I tell this story on the podcast all the time, but this guy, he's like been in music for years and years and years and years. And we were talking, and I was asking, I was like, dude, like, how do you like stay balanced with this shit? And he looked at me and he was like, what do you do outside of music? And I stopped and I was like, damn, dude, like, what do I do outside of music? I listen to music, I play music, all my friends are in music, everybody in my social circle is in some way, shape, or form in music. And I was like, damn, nothing. And I realized how unhealthy that was. So I feel you in that regard, where it's like everything just goes back to it, and it's kind of a blessing and a curse, but it's difficult to find that balance in that sweet spot where like not too much is music, but it still has like a very pivotal role in your life, you know? Exactly.
What do you think are the biggest things you learned from this project?
I learned how to make good songs and still rap good.
Interesting.
That's one of the main things. I learned how to sequence an album like the right way. Good tension.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, let me get close to the mic. I'm sorry.
Do you think prior to this project you struggled with that idea of like making songs and raps, and then like not like they aren't the same thing, you know, putting them together in a fashion that felt harmonious?
Definitely, because it's like I'm a writer at heart, so it's like that's what I naturally gravitate to.
Gotcha.
The lyrics, because for me, the rap has to look pretty on paper. It's like just reading it.
On paper?
Yeah, like the
words and the sonics.
Yeah, the words.
Interesting.
Not even the sonics, just looking at the word, like, you know, this is pretty, I guess. This is just looking at the word.
Just the word itself.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So it's like that's a component of what I consider a good rhyme when I write it.
Yeah.
But you know, the imagery, the wittiness, the let me see other things I consider. How many times you laugh in a verse?
Interesting.
That's how I consider a good rapper.
Yeah.
Like how many times do you chuckle? and you know, and the more number, the better rapper he is.
Kanye does that a lot for me.
Exactly.
Where he'll say some silly shit and I just chuckle. And it's kind of one of those things where like, you get it like after you said it or after you heard it, you know? It's like it takes like 4 or 5 seconds. You're like, oh, like that's what he meant.
Like Wayne got a lot of those.
Wayne does that too a lot.
Wayne
There's a lot of rappers like that. Bro, it's very clear to me, and I just totally get the sense, like listening to your music, just how much of a student of lyricism you are, how much like of a student of rap music you are. I mean, we were talking before about like who we think are like our goats and shit, but it's very clear to me like how hip-hop driven you are. Do you remember, and also just like the way you make music is so incredibly driven by storytelling and lyrics. Do you remember like a moment growing up, or like when you first started making music, when you realized you wanted to be a storyteller and when you wanted to be a lyricist? Was there one album or one song or one project or one experience that did that for you?
No, that's just the stuff I always gravitated to, bro.
Gotcha.
And that's always the stuff I consider good rapping. And like my mom, like she played me The Message and things of that nature to kind of give me the foundation of like the art form. And like The Message is a storytelling song. Her favorite rappers are Nas, Scarface, and Ice Cube. All those are great storytellers.
Some great storytellers.
So it's like what I consider good rapping is,
storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's
interesting.
I knew no other way.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, dude. It's such like a story-driven genre. It's hard to separate the raps and the storytelling. It's difficult,
I mean, it's just oral history. It's it's very African influence, like sitting around a campfire telling a story. But, just the way in hip hop you can play on different dimensions.
Yeah.
Like you could tell a story, but also the sonics accompanying it can also tell the story also. So it's like at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's one of the coolest things about hip hop. It's like 3 rappers can tell the same story and it'll sound entirely different, and you'll experience it entirely different based on just the way that they perceive it. It's such a fascinating art form for that reason.
And in cadence and flow, and it's a whole lot of things that you can use. Like the way you say I went to the store is different than you say I went to the stove. You see what I'm saying? Like it's a whole lot of ways you can convey an emotion, a whole lot of ways that you can convey a state of mind. That makes it a very fertile ground for like a writer like me.
100%, dude. And so much of it too is like informed by the way you see the world, which is like such a cool thing, right? It's like your vision and your rhyme schemes, and even like the way the way you're flowing and stuff, it's so informed by the things that you've heard and the things you grew up on. Like, was the stuff that your mom was putting you onto as a kid, all those influences you just named, was that like a big moment for you when you kind of were listening to that hip hop growing up?
Oh yeah, I mean, like it was always playing in the house. I mean, but she had like a very music palette, but those are the things I related to the most. Like the stories was the things I related to the most, and they could put me in their state of mind or like in their shoes. But yeah, she would play like Alanis Morissette, Prince.
Oh, so all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, like Lil Kim, like Frankie Beverly and Maze. Just a good healthy palette of varied music. So
I don't know if my ears were hearing this or not, but it felt like there were a lot of good samples on this project. Like, I believe the first track was right.
Yeah.
Were you like influenced by a lot of the music you grew up listening to in terms of a sample?
Yeah, I mean, it's more the feeling.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like it's it's more the feeling. It's like, how can this make me feel like Dungeon Family? Can this make me feel like Cash Money? Can this make me feel like Ghost of Brandywine, for example?
Yeah.
Straighten up the soldier for they gun you down. That's BG. Like that's that's straight out his playbook. So, but Brandywine doesn't really sound like Cash Money records. It's just that flow and that cadence and the feeling and the verbiage. That kind of that's what I'm trying to harken back to or pay homage to.
And that's such like an interesting way to think about influence, dude, because like you can be influenced by somebody like just purely sonically, or you can be influenced by like what someone was like, or like just I guess for lack of a better term, their aura, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can be influenced by just the way that somebody is and how they act, and like what it means to be that kind of artist, like growing up watching different people can not only inform the sonics, but it can inform just the way that you move, Were you like growing up watching like anybody in particular that you think you took a lot from?
Man, I was a very big Wayne fan. We was talking about this off camera. Let me see, man. I don't want to take too much time. Let me see. Kanye for sure. Tyler the Creator later in my teenage year. Nas. Man, let me see. Yeah, like it's a lot of people. Like kind of like Ghostface too. Yeah,
I could totally see the Ghostface influence, I feel like.
Right.
That's sick. One thing I wanted to go back to was just that note that I saw on your Instagram about a prior project where you were talking about like struggling writing music that you feel like people who don't have your lived experience can relate to. And you were talking about that in regards to your last project, and I totally understand why. Because a lot of it deals with like the emotions and the reality of like living as like a young black man in Baton Rouge specifically, which is obviously like a very geographically driven place, very solidified experience. Did you feel the same on this project? Like, was that ever in the back of your mind, having to like relate your experiences to a context other people can understand?
See, that note also, I don't know if you, well, anyway, what I was trying to say was that everything is universal.
Gotcha.
Like, you know, my specific experience is universal to, you know, like everybody's, because everybody has a specific experience.
Yeah.
But it's just these tempos where it's like, everybody experiences grief. Everybody experiences like homesickness, or everybody experiences certain emotions that, you know, no matter where you're from or how old you are, they cross over.
So universal experiences.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, man. With this one, to be honest, this one was more. It felt like, because they think we ghetto was kind of like this, like an inside conversation with my friends. I'm speaking directly to them.
Gotcha.
But with this one, I was speaking directly to them, but I also peeked the door a little bit more to like let people. Yeah, just that's basically what I did. Just crack the door a little bit more and painted a little bit wider picture. Wow. Up in the songcraft.
Yeah, that idea of like speaking to your friends on a song is a really, really cool one. I don't think a lot of people have played around with that idea, because so much of who you're around as a kid and who you are in your youth is influenced by the folks that you grew up with. And like having like a very solidified group of people, I always think about the idea that like you kind of are the accumulation of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. I think that's incredibly, incredibly true.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, if all your friends are millionaires, you gonna get some money.
Yeah.
Right, come on now.
Yeah. Do you have like a very close group of friends that you've had since you were a kid?
Yeah, man. And shit, it's like at least 9 or 10 of them.
Nice.
So it's like, I do. There are people I either middle school, high school, play football with. Like, we all know each other, so.
Yeah. Dude, that's the best. I was just back in the Bay, and I was hanging out with some of my friends that, like, I've known since, like the first day of high school type shit. And, I mean, at this point, that's, like 8-9 years. And we were just talking about how different it is talking to those folks opposed to people that you meet, you know, in your 20s or, like, later in your life. Just because there's, like, a level of experience that you can never explain, right? If I meet somebody when I'm 22... and I might get incredibly close with them, right? They'll never know what I was like at 17. I mean, right. I can explain it time and time again, but I can't. There's no possible way you can fill in all the gaps, you know? Like, those people just get you on a different level, you know?
Yeah, you know, just in a way that's more closer to the natural you.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like the older you get, the further away you get from the, like, not further away you get, because, I mean, you start to figure out more about yourself.
Yeah.
But
true.
Just primordial you. Like, you know, just kind of, you know, you, when you haven't figured certain things out, and maybe a more primitive you that they felt more comfortable with. Yeah. So, yeah, like, you know, it's definitely one of those things that I try to, you know, think about, and I try to kind of play with in my music, because it's like, you know, I didn't have experiences where when I talk about it to certain people, it feels like, you know, you know, so it's like I had to learn to kind of, okay, let me try to talk on the level of the person I'm talking to.
No, I totally feel that. It's like changing yourself based on who you're around. I guess the hardest thing to do is like maintain you when you're doing that, you know? It's like talking to somebody who maybe doesn't experience the same thing that you've experienced in the same way. Maybe they just weren't there. But it's like explaining it in a way that still feels authentic to you and yourself, you know? I had a friend growing up, and his name's Isaiah, but I always told him how much I looked up to him because he's the exact same dude around everybody. Like, I grew up around like a bunch of different groups of kids, and this guy Isaiah was just like literally the same person with every single group, and I thought that was the coolest fucking thing ever. Like, he never ever tried to like cater his personality or who he was to like the people he was around. He was just him all the time. Yeah. Which I thought was the coolest thing.
Yeah, bro. And those are the type of people that you gotta keep close, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Do you think like a lot of the friends that you've had growing up in Baton Rouge, do they influence you musically? Like, have they changed the way you look at the world a lot?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah. Cause it's, you know, it's like, just like you asked the question with the music community, it's bouncing ideas off. But it's like, they're kind of deeper and bigger, you know, they're like questions like masculinity and like, you know, like what do you do in this situation, or how something like that should be handled in the right way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like they're kind of more bigger and deeper questions, more like personal.
Interesting. So like outside of music even.
Yeah, exactly. Way outside of music.
Yeah,
We don't
for
even
sure.
Talk about music.
Were they into music? Like a lot of your friends growing up? Or were you kind of always the one rapping and they were doing other stuff?
Yeah, they were like both. Like they loved music. Like my friend Jay, he put me on the Currency and Kid Cudi. It's like everybody always loved music, but they were more fans of it and not more participants in it. I was the only one that, cause to be honest, bro, it got to the point where it's like, you know, it's just me rapping. You know, like, you know, we all smoke.
Like you're a rapper, that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, you know, that's Quad's, you know, like arena. You'll be a fool's errand to try to encroach on that territory. So
I feel that. I was very grateful growing up. Like, I mean, even when I was in high school, right? Like, I had my friends from school who weren't doing anything musical. They were just, you know, into sports or school or whatever. Yeah. And then, like, I had my friends in music. And I would drive from where I grew up in Concord to San Francisco every single weekend to be with my music friends. Yeah. And then I was with them, and that was a totally different world. And that was one Dante. And then I would go home, and I'd go back to school, and that was another version of Dante. And it's like I have those kind of two lives. And I always thought that was a cool thing. And I always appreciated it, too, because I think, like, having the experiences in school allowed me to go into those music places and be more informed about different parts of the world, and then vice versa. You know, having those experiences with music folk, going back to the people who, you know, weren't in music, I always felt like I was able to kind of illustrate experiences in a different way, and I was very grateful for that growing up. Okay.
Yeah. Just like different places that you go with form different things. Just like you said that you were like different versions of, like those different versions of you have. Well, you know, like I'm just assuming, but the Dante that was with the music friends had a whole nother different set of outlooks and like, you know, things that they thought was, I don't want to cool, but and then
different things you can talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Different areas that you can go into, you know, like as opposed to the other one, and then that kind of builds up, you know, the things that you may not be comfortable with talking with one group of friends, you talk about it with the other, and it kind of gives you like another perspective of like, you know, okay, this person has a whole nother opinion on this, so maybe how I'm looking at it isn't one, the only perspective, or secondly, the right one. So, you know, it's just growth at the end of the day.
Maybe I'm just projecting here, but does that ever feel weird when you go back to Baton Rouge after coming out to places like LA and New York? Like going back and just being like, you know, you were the Quadry that was just the rapper for those times, you know, when you're out there doing music stuff. And then when you go back, there's like parts of your life that obviously are music informed, but then there's parts of your life that there's people who just like aren't in music at all. Is it ever hard to kind of like explain those things to them and relate to them in that regard?
Nah, not really, because I mean, well, I guess earlier it used to be, but I, you know, like I never was the type of person, because I really knew early on, like, yo, this is, you know, this is something I'm into, and, you know, like, this is my dream, you know, it's not, you know, and, you know, like, I'm an only child also, so it's like, I really never had somebody to talk to. So it's like, that's not my natural state.
Interesting.
Like, you know, like, if somebody asks me about it, like, like, I'm, you know, like, I'm gonna explain it, but it's like, I don't, you know, like, I never had the need to, like, vent to anybody else, because, you know, I'm only child, I always, you know.
Damn, that's got to be such a different experience. Did you ever like think about what it would have been like to grow up with brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I tried to, but I never had them, so it's like, you know, it's kind of, you know, I had like cousins and stuff, because let me take that back, I kind of know, it's like with the cousins I grew up with, it's like we're not brothers, but it's like,
but it was just so close.
It's the same thing. It's like, you know, I got all the responsibilities of a brother, but it's like I don't get like, we not brothers, so it's cool though. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. That's definitely a very different experience than like even I grew up with two brothers, because I have two brothers that like, I mean, they both love music so much, but they're doing things that are so far removed from them. So it's always weird trying to kind of like, I don't want to say catch them up, but just like a little bit catch them up, like kind of explain to them everything that I'm doing and what's going on and why. And it is refreshing though. Like I was just back in the Bay Area this weekend, and it's definitely refreshing to be around folks that like are not involved in music at all, because it kind of gives you a different outlook and you get to talk about things in a different way, and it almost like makes you question certain things that you wouldn't question when you're just around music people, you know? Right. Which is a really, really cool thing. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's, if you talk to chefs, like, you know, you're gonna find a new perspective on how to write.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, you know, just looking at different disciplines and trying to incorporate them into your own, you know, that's just a part of growth also.
Yeah, 100%. There's one thing you talk about on the last song of the project. There's like this little, not interlude, but there's a break where you're talking about this idea of survivor's guilt and how like you're feeling something that you don't think is survivor's guilt, but you, if I'm understanding it correctly, you were saying it just feels like questioning good things when they come into your life.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of ground yourself when you get in that mindset and you're kind of questioning those things? Is that like an ongoing battle, an ongoing struggle, or do you feel like you've gotten better with that over the years as music has become more of a normal thing in your life?
Yeah, I think I've gotten better with it over the years. Mind you, too, when you hear these records, they're like things I was struggling with. At like by the time it's out, I kind of figured it out.
Gotcha.
So it's like, yeah, I done gotten way better with it. You know, just kind of coming to peace with certain things and just kind of, you know, just like understanding certain things were just not my fault.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, you know, time heals all type shit.
Yeah, dude. That's a very healing thing. Like just accepting that certain things in your life are not your fault, and accepting that there's certain things that just happen to you and they happen in a certain way and you can't change them. I mean, regardless though, it's an isolating thing to be an artist.
Yeah, aware of it. I mean, you know, you're trying to make something that doesn't exist. So it's like you have to you have to see stuff that's not there.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you do that? You have to have a strong inner world.
Yeah.
And so how do you build it? You have to isolate yourself.
Yeah.
You know. So, but at the end of the day, it's a dance because good, you know, somebody just stays in the house all the time necessarily doesn't make music. Yeah. Somebody that's always out all the time doesn't make good, you know, good music. It's like a tension. You know, it's a dance that you got to do for sure. Yeah, so.
That's an interesting idea, like building something that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
because that is what you're doing. I mean, like you are taking stories from either your life or other people's life, and you're literally creating something from thin air that previously was not there. Do you feel like everything you read about, do you have experiences and then you run to go write, or are you somebody who you think like, do you hear things and then run to go write? Like, what is usually like that Kickstarter for you? Like when you're like, oh, I gotta start making a track about that.
To be honest, bro, the beats inform a lot. It's like I don't make I don't go into the studio with. I mean, it's a couple times I might have had an idea of a song I wanted to do. Yeah. But the beats always inform them all. Oh, Kip about to pass the Esplanade.
Let's go.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, man. Just put that in there right quick. All right. Ooh, okay.
Shout out Kip.
Yeah, shout out Kip, man, with the Esplanade.
Let's go.
But yeah, man, we just in here vibing, bro. We just in here vibing.
Kip with the Escalon pour.
Yeah, bro. Like, we not even pronouncing it the right way. Fuck it. We just calling it.
Or what is it? Espalon?
I don't care what it is. We just gonna call it like
cheap tequila.
Yeah. I don't know. Is it cheap tequila?
It's called 3 p.m. Yeah.
Oh, 3 p.m. in Mexico.
Yeah.
But no, that's with the, you know, pink lemonade and shit. Like, nah, bro. This straight up Escalade.
Escape.
Yeah, man, that's what we call it, man. We sipping on
Escape. Yeah, no, I feel you though, bro. It's an interesting idea. Like the
God
like,
damn.
What? Oh yeah, strong.
That shit went all through my nose.
What? Did you just go straight? Oh, I can't do it, bro.
Yeah, shit, yeah. Keep on no chasing him.
Oh, I cannot do this straight. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, man. She might put it down. Okay, all right, baby.
Hook me up, Kip. Hook me up.
Yeah, man. We turned through with the lemonade and the Esplanade.
The lemonade and the Escanade. What was it called?
Don't worry about that.
3 p.m. in Manhattan.
You don't get it twice.
6 p.m. in Park Slope. That's what that is.
4 p.m. in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. Hey, real talk.
Real talk. How much do you think the place where you're from informs the project? Like,
a lot.
I mean, it sounds so much like Baton Rouge, and it sounds so much like you, and it sounds so much of like you explaining and trying to make sense of the place that you're from. Do you think if you wrote the project somewhere else, it would feel different?
Maybe. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe. Because Malik Ruff, I did in LA. Yeah. And people say that sounds like Baton Rouge. So, I mean, bro, I'm a very like, if I would have did it anywhere else, I would have used the same producers. Yeah. The same. So, I don't know. I don't know if it would have sounded any different. Because I'll be fucking watching Baton Rouge shit while I was making it.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. It's crazy, bro. Like, I always talk about this, like, I think it's similar to, like, your set of parents, right? Like, you only get one set of parents and you only get one hometown.
Exactly.
And there's literally no way you can get that out of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's how I feel with the Bay Area. Like, there's no way Oh, excuse me. Like, there's no way I could get the Bay Area out of me. Like, it's very much, it just has just informed the way that I look at the world. And I get the sense that Baton Rouge is very similar for you.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, it's singular.
Yeah.
I mean, I done been to a handful of places. There's not too many like it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
What do you think are the biggest lessons you learned from the place you're from?
Keep your composure.
Ooh, yeah.
Don't throw it all out the window at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Thumbnail Mario, that's a good one. Don't throw it all out the window. I like that.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Just like keep your head in varied situations?
Yeah. You know, the main thing, the main thing about Baton Rouge, nobody practices conflict resolution. It just escalates
Yeah.
to to a level they can't get back. So my main thing was, okay, I'm seeing this. If I could find a way to like chill,
Yeah.
like, or everything, if I'm not angry about it in 72 hours, it's not that big of a thing.
Interesting.
So,
yeah.
That's one of the things I learned.
That's growth, bro. That's
just pick your battles too.
yeah. Oh, 100%. That's a hard thing to do, though, dude. I think there's
Yeah, it is hard.
there's like a level of toxic masculinity that was really hard to overcome as well.
Yeah,
Like this strange thing that we go through as men, where it's like every single conflict you want to be the thing at the forefront of your mind that needs to be solved in that moment.
Right.
But like getting the maturity to kind of like step away and be like, it's not that deep. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. How can I go past that without like
not that it's
in the
not that
face?
big of a deal. It doesn't deserve that much energy.
Like it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the energy I would have to put in that, I need to put into some other shit.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
the main epiphany I had.
Yeah. It's like picking up and walking away is sometimes the most valuable thing that you can do, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing I think to learn from the place you're from.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really cool. Do you think there were any like people specifically that informed the way that you see music in the world, especially from Baton Rouge specifically?
Baton Rouge specifically. The person got to be from Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
Like Webby. I like Webby. Yeah, cause it's like he just kind of showed me, it was like you could do the shit at a very high level.
Mm.
You know, you can really rhyme. Like you can really explain who you are.
Yeah.
So that's the main person.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome.
Mm.
Cool. Cool. All right. I think last thing I want to ask you, if you had like one message that you hope people get from the project, like one thing you could translate from the album, what would you hope that message would be?
I don't know. Praise be to Allah in all situations. That's the one thing. Like everything's gonna be alright.
Mm.
You know, just kind of be grateful for where you at the moment.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I mean, I think that's a very beautiful lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Like taking things as they are in the moment, in the present moment, and being okay with how they are, and learning that like you're in a better situation than probably a lot of the world.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which I think is growth.
Yeah, growth.
100%.
Yeah. Something like it.
Hell yeah. Quadry.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Dante, above the bridge.
Project's amazing, man. Very
Yeah.
happy for you. Glad
Thank
the
you.
world gets to hear it. Glad it's out. Thank you for
Mhm.
sitting down and doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's all good, man. We out in LA. We just drinking this Esplanade, doing our thing.
Just chilling.
Yeah, just chilling, man. We got Nick, Kip in the cut.
Let's go.
They on their phones, getting this business right.
Offer in the building.
Come on, man. We doing it big.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beautiful. Thank you,
So,
man.
Yeah, man.
Project's out now. Tell them where they can get it. You got any shows coming up?
Everywhere. I got a release event in New York on the 3rd,
Nice.
October 3rd.
Hell yeah.
Shows, still trying to figure that out. Hopefully, like I said, that's why Nick and Kip on the phones trying to figure that out.
They can give on the phones.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out right now.
Beautiful. Hell yeah. And then where can they follow you? Where can they stream it?
Oh, Instagram at Quadry, QUADRY, Y'all gonna have this LinkedIn, right?
Yeah. In the description.
Twitter at _quad. Y'all can stream it everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. We trying to get on JPay, so like we can get into prisons.
JPEG?
JPay.
Oh.
Yeah, so we can get into prisons so the prisoners can listen to it.
Hell yeah.
Because I feel like it's a project that they need.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Well, thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Likewise, man.
Hell yeah.
Over and out.
All right,
You know,
Quadry. Music
yeah.
matters.
Yep,
Boom.
the Empire Strikes Back.